Hey everyone, Sheila here from Lifewithpets. So today I'm going to do a video on my top 5 tips on starting an aquarium. So let's get right on into it with number one. Number one, buy the biggest tank you can afford. Why do I say that? Because you will get a tank. You're going to start with a 5-gallon, a 10-gallon. You will get the fish bug, and then the next thing is you're wanting a 20-gallon or a 40-gallon or a 55-gallon. And so if you can buy the biggest tank that you can afford when you start, it will save you a lot of money in the long run. Now, I'm not saying for your very first tank go out and buy a 55-gallon. But if it's something that you're very, very serious about and you've done your research, then maybe you could start with a 20-gallon or a 29-gallon. There are so many different options, but like I say, in the long run it will save you money because you're not going to have to upgrade, or certainly you won't have to upgrade within the first few months when you decide, hey, I just love this hobby and I want a bigger tank. So I would say go for the biggest one that you can afford. Number 2, when you're wanting fish, go ahead and research the fish that you want. Don't just go to the fish store and say, I want this one and this one and this one, and put all these fish together, and then you've got problems or you discover they get too big for the tank. Whereas if you take a little time to see what's available and then just go through and see what temperature do they need, how big do they get, will the tank size I'm thinking of fit these fish for their entire life. Temperature is a big one in that some fish need a cooler temperature and some fish need a higher temperature. So you need to make sure that the fish you've got living together all can at least have a middle ground of temperature. So I would say do research on your fish before you go out and buy them. Number 3. 3 or 3? I think 3. Number 3. Don't rush into adding fish to your aquarium. Go ahead, cycle the tank, spend the time getting to understand water parameters and what they are, the different levels within your tank. Take the time to enjoy the full process as opposed to getting a tank and 24 hours later going out and buying fish. The fish then will likely die because of the tank not being cycled, and you're new at this and you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. And by taking the time to go through a cycle within a tank, you get to learn about the tank, how it works. A lot of people freak out when they put things in the tank and suddenly they end up covered in like a white slime, and that white slime is actually a biofilm and it is not harmless at all. So these things are all things that you can learn by having the tank set up and running and going through its cycle. I do have a video on cycling a tank and I will leave a link in the little top eye card, and I never get the side right. So if you want to go and take a look at that, you can do. But take your time, don't rush out and go and get a load of fish and then you put them in, they all die. So many people give up because that keeps happening. So by being patient, then you will not go through all that, but you will learn so much about your tank. Number 4, buy a test kit. This one I cannot stress enough. You can either do the test strips. I will try and leave links to things in the description box below. You can either do the test strips or you can do the API liquid kit. I know that the outlay can be a little expensive in the beginning, but to me it should be part of the package of when you're setting up a tank, because you need to know if the water is safe for fish. If the water is not safe for fish, it can cause so many problems. It can cause stress, it can cause burning of the fish's gills from the ammonia and nitrite. So it can cause a lot of issues if you don't know what your water parameters are. You also need to know what they are for the types of fish. Some fish like a low pH, some fish like a higher pH. So by having the test kit and doing the testing of the water, then you then know that you've got the right environment for those fish. Okay, so you've done your research, you've bought the biggest tank you can buy, you have been patient and allowed the tank to do its thing so that it is safe for fish. you have tested the water along that process. And the fifth one is when you add fish, add a few at a time. Don't go out and buy 10 fish to put in your tank, because that will suddenly overload it, which will cause the ammonia to rise, and then you're going to have issues with your water parameters. So if you go in and you just buy 2 or 3 fish to start with, or if you're buying a fish that requires maybe a higher quantity, like 5, then just get that specific species of fish and put those 5 fish in. That way you can then just add slowly over time, so that you don't cause this huge rise in ammonia in the tank, which then leads to other issues. So they are my top 5. I hope they were helpful. Let me know in the comments box below what you wish you'd have known when you were starting out in the fish hobby. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the post notifications. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.